If
Yes.
anybody's familiar
Well, they
with
do all
movies.
the movies there. Yeah, right.
And then in the
Above, yes.
up above and to the right somewhere is where you can follow us here on Crowdcast and get notified when we go live, which is hopefully you'll do that. And last but not least, below us right down there is a click here for ACT training with APA CEs and matrix certification, meaning that you can get CEs on this very topic.
Yep.
And if you wanted to, you could get certified in doing the ACT matrix. So all of that is way cool. And any more housekeeping, Phil?
I think the bases have been covered.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay. And we're going to very slowly. Folks don't know I've been in training to learn a very complicated task. I won't get into it here, but it got my mind on training, which is what we're doing here. And we don't want to approach this as, like, we've done this a lot. Let's just say Phil and I have done this a lot. We have applied ACT to PTSD a lot, okay? And we've done the ACT matrix with PTSD a lot. And the danger of having done something a lot is you can go too darn fast.
Yeah.
And lose people along the way. And we don't want to lose people. Yeah. We really hope that if you watch this, that you give this a try, regardless of clicking and buying APA credits or something from us. Regardless, we really do hope you give it a try. And why do we say that? Because we know a lot of people watch stuff like this and they go, and then they don't. Then they just don't get around to doing whatever. But chances are you are going to run across people with, if not full-blown post-traumatic stress disorder, at least they have a history of trauma. It may not have risen to the level of diagnosable PTSD, but it has gotten to the level that it bugs them a little bit, or a lot of bit maybe. That's for a diagnosis thing. So that's where that's what we're dealing with, is trauma memories. That's the biggie. Okay, so if you're going to be working with people PTSD, you by definition are working with people with trauma memories. And as Phil knows and I know, you oftentimes work with people who have trauma memories, but they don't meet the full-blown.
They're not meeting criteria.
They don't meet the criteria.
The diagnostic criteria.
But that doesn't mean you wouldn't work on the trauma memories. Like, well, why would you work on the trauma memories? Well, that's because the memory is showing up. That's our kind of terminology for it. And in some way, interfering with their life. Once again, maybe not to the point where it's a diagnosable thing, but it's a yucky thing. And
it's bogging them down.
Bogging them down. There we go. Bogging them down. It's baggage. There we go. Baggage.
Yeah.
We all have baggage, right? So PTSD, or whether just that baggage, it's like, okay, well, is ACT any good for that? Well, we would say yes. I mean, ACT writ large, acceptance and commitment therapy, is writ large, was almost tailor-made for post-traumatic stress disorder. It could have been tailor-made for post-traumatic stress disorder. Why? Because it's working with how, and here comes one of Phil and I's terms, how a yucky memory can show up and get in the way of valued living.
Doing what you want to do.
What you want to do, right. And you go, well, yeah, that's sort of the definition of at least a little bit of PTSD. Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's very good for that. And And to go on, folks, it doesn't treat the trauma back, acceptance and commitment therapy, doesn't treat the trauma memory like it's some malignant cancer or
Gotta
something.
be carved out of people.
Exactly. That's, I mean, well, sort of literally carved
Yeah,
out.
right.
and that's the thing with depression. Well, you know you can't carve depression out.
No.
You know, anxiety. You know you can't carve
No.
anxiety out. And here comes trauma memory, and the idea back in the day was like, oh, well, we can get those out of your system. You can regurgitate.
Yeah.
Stick your finger down your throat and
We'll expunge that memory.
get them out. Well, it wasn't very long of doing work with trauma that that doesn't work. And as a matter of fact, with something like a trauma memory like that, it's really, really easy to have the opposite happen, which is, well, we're going to go to work on getting rid of this trauma memory. And since it is not of the physical world, it is instead of the mental world, the more you work on it, the more you got it.
It blossomed.
and in some ways we could say, well, you made the problem worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And believe you me, folks, I spent over 30 years of my life working heavily in PTSD, and I've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah.
Right. Especially in the early days, that was that notion that you could somehow, it came from catharsis, really. That's where it arrived from.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was, but catharsis in the form of throwing it up.
Right.
And basically you could get rid of it.
Psychic energy of
Right. And like, so along comes ACT, and ACT is instead saying, well, all of this stuff that's going on inside of you is what it is. You know, it's not going anywhere, just there. And if you poke around with it too much, it's really easy to make it worse.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we'll talk about other things, especially with trauma memories. That is indeed the case. You really can't. Phil knows this. Trauma. He was a trauma debriefer guy, right?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Right. So the first thing they thought of, this is decades ago, was, well, we'll bring them all in, these people who witnessed a trauma.
Yeah.
And we'll let them talk about it.
Oh yeah. Just let them have at it.
In a group.
Yeah. Tell us all about that dastardly stuff that happened to you here.
Yeah. And they did research on that, folks. This is bona fide research. That doesn't work.
No.
That comes under the category of making things worse.
Yeah, it's a great recipe for re-traumatizing people.
Yeah. So just in case that comes across, that's not the way you do that.
Yeah.
No. You're just rehearsing. It's as if you're rehearsing a script.
Yeah.
And so the more you rehearse the script, the better you are at recalling the script. And that can go south. So with ACT, we're going to learn to live with the memory. We're not going to, that's it. We're just going to try, we're going to learn. That is an important word here.
Yes.
Learn, like you're learning tennis or tiddlywinks or anything like that. You're going to learn how to do valued living, to use an ACT phraseology, and get on about life. Okay? That's what you're going to do. And so then it's like, well, how do you do that? Well, believe you me, if you go to the ACT books, you can get lost in a real hurry.
That could be true.
And for one thing, I mean, some of the first things you're going to see is like about values work. Let me let you in on a little secret. Somebody who's been traumatized, be careful with the trauma
Oh, man.
with the
That's
values work.
a minefield right there. Oof.
Right. There, you just walked in to, I mean, it can work out, folks. I'm
Oh,
going
yeah.
to put the diss on all of it. It can work out, but then again, it cannot work out. And Phil and I, long and hard, we literally avoid the not work out.
We're going to go around that one. Not going to touch that.
No, because I mean, we're talking a huge percentage of the cases that values work didn't work out. It just, especially not for people with a history of trauma. Okay, it just is just what I don't know about others, but let's just call that one.
Yeah.
So
About trauma today.
so, but the act sort of sends you act of traditional act book or something will sort of send you in that direction. And you'll say, well, that's where I start, because that's all of us. Phil and I talk about this, how do you go about doing X? And you're like, well, I don't know. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. Yep. Hear that a lot.
Yeah, you just hear that a lot. I don't know where to start. And so what the ACT matrix is, and I developed it in large part initially for training. It's for training ACT. Now, the great thing about ACT is when you train yourself in ACT, you're training the person you're working with in ACT. There's no separation between those two things. So therefore, the ACT matrix, as quickly as it was a training tool for students, psychotherapy students, it also became a tool for the clients themselves that they could then use. So you're the proverbial getting two birds with
Oh, yeah. A lot of bang for your buck, as we say.
a lot of bang for your buck with this. So you're not only training yourself and maybe other fellow clinicians or something or whatever they are, but you're also training your clients, and you don't have to separate the training. And so much of like CBT, well, here's the clinical training in CBT over here.
Oh, yeah.
Come over here and apply it to the clients. Oh, it's all different. Not this.
No.
Just
All one cloth.
you don't have to learn anything twice. It's all straightforward. So I'm just giving you a preamble so that you know the big picture of this. And so, one, trauma, we're going to get to a place where hopefully the person's going to get to a place where they can have that trauma memory and get on about valued living. That's where we want to go. Right, Phil?
Yes.
That's our guidepost.
That's our direction.
That's where
We
we're
have the flag out there in the distance, and that's what we're heading for.
there it is. And of course, the person's not there yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not there yet. And so, great. Well, then how are we going to get them there? Well, this is the question I was working on back in 05 to 09, really. How you're going to get them there? Well, what I arrived at was the ACT matrix. This, and it's you say, well, where do you start, Kevin? Where do you start? Oh, I show people the matrix. Bill knows the end. People will say, no. Tell me what
Really,
what do you,
come on,
start?
Put pull on my leg.
You're pulling my leg. You don't really start there.
Yeah.
And we're going, no, really.
Yes, we do.
Where we start. This is it. This is how we get started. And then they get, but you're training us with it. And you're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I do the same thing with clients. It's the same thing. I don't have to learn something new.
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything different. And so, and as far as I know, I want to make everybody in the world an expert in ACT. What problem would that be? There's no problem with that. And so let's do it. And one of the best ways I ever found to do it was just to go ahead and show them the overall big picture of the whole thing, which is what the ACT matrix is. And we just say, there you go. Your senses are up at the top. That's just your 5 senses. Don't worry about that right now. Your mind is down at the bottom. You're familiar with your mind, chatterbox and in between your ears there. Over to the right, there's a feeling of contentment. Now that's that feeling you get, "Oh, content. Oh, I
Mm.
accomplished something," or whatever, yeah. And over to the left is the feeling of relief, and that's like plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief there is. It is, that's just relief. It's just that feeling, and that's good. Don't have to worry about that now, just so you know the diagram. And then we start in the lower right of the diagram, we write down who's important to us. So for me, I would write down my wife. My wife is important. Now, I could choose my daughter or my son or a grandkid or whatever. Phil, he'll choose somebody just
Yeah,
to
I'll
be
put my
fair.
daughter down today.
And I know for a fact his wife is very important to him, but he might that he might have just seen his daughter.
Yeah, a matter of fact, I did. She's ill today, so
Oh,
I'm
see, so
my mind.
daughter's on his mind, so he
Yeah.
said daughter. And anybody, and people will say, "Oh, my dog is so important,"
Oh, yeah. Pets are people here.
and we write that down. This is not about getting graded or anything. This is just about writing down who, and I guess in the case of dogs and stuff, what is important. And even somebody might say religion is important to me.
Oh, yeah.
I've had that happen.
Oh, I had that yesterday, matter of fact.
And you go, okay, and you write it down. It's, that's fine. It's just
Yep.
writ large important stuff goes in the lower right. That's all we're saying when we're using this diagram. And then over in the lower left, we say, well, this is where yucky stuff shows up. And if you want to, you're in a PTSD clinic and you're bona fide working with people with trauma memories, you could even say to them, this is where most people put trauma memories because they're yucky, sort of by definition, right? So we'd put those there. But, other stuff that shows up inside of you, like fear goes there, and stuff. And so what happens when fear or a trauma memory shows up inside of a person? Well, most people I know, and especially ones showing up in treatment, is they try to not have it,
Yep.
avoid it. And why? Because it's distressing. It doesn't feel good to have that going on inside of you. And so you go about trying to get, here comes that word, relief from that. And this is one of the hallmark symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, is that people then do avoidance behaviors to get relief from these trauma memory recollections. And some people can get quite impaired with that, right? Actually, full-blown PTSD cases, they're very impaired, avoiding most of life, okay? So what I just did was take it directly into the PTSD realm, and you can do that. Maybe you're not working with PTSD. Don't worry about it. Don't say anything like that. Just depression, anxiety, stuff like that. But we're doing PTSD today. Yay. So we got that. We got the avoidance. Now, finally, we talk about the kind of behaviors. And the upper part is all behaviors. So avoidance stuff, that's, you're going to stay home or drink. Or
hide,
watch TV, avoid in all kinds of creative ways, do drugs, drink, drug, and all that stuff. That's in the upper left. And in the upper right, you're going to write down stuff that you do to, approach, or do stuff for who's important to you. Well, the religious person might say, well, I go to church on Sunday. There you go. That's an observable behavior. You can see you going to church on Sunday. I might say, well, I just go talk to my wife. Well, you can see me doing that too. So talk to wife. Phil might do something with his daughter.
I gave her some ibuprofen.
Gave her some ibuprofen, you see. So all kinds of behaviors like that, and wrap it all together, oftentimes that eventually at least leads to contentment. Like, hey, I'm doing stuff for other people.
Like that.
bets and stuff and all of that. And so you go, oh wow, we got quite a little diagram going there. Well, now we're going to add one extra little thing to it. And that add is we're going to say, well, now that you know this diagram, that is the important stuff goes in the lower right and the yucky stuff goes in the lower left, and the avoidance maneuvers, relief maneuvers go in the upper left, and the move toward contentment, that kind of behaviors go in the upper right. Well, now you can notice all of those things. Like, so what do you think in the next week? You think you might have the opportunity to notice who's important to you and yucky stuff showing up, and notice yourself doing avoidance moves, and notice yourself doing contentment moves? What do you think? Think you might have the opportunity to notice that kind of stuff showing up in your life? I mean, for me, yeah, well, for
I
sure.
would say yep.
Anybody with us? Maybe there's one or two people with
They
us.
might weigh in.
They might do it, right? And now with that, you just did the whole ACT process. And I know that some people watching this will go, what?
Yeah. What do you mean the whole ACT process?
Why do I know that? Because I've seen that reaction at conferences.
Oh yeah, you get this.
What? I was like, what? Yeah, okay. What you're thinking of, if you're going doing the what, you're thinking of all the little details, the values work, the diffusion work, the present moment experiencing work, the committed action work, all of that stuff that you'll read in an ACT book. But underneath or above all of that stuff is just a very basic process. And that's what the matrix is. It's just showing that very basic process, which is, in my life, I do stuff for who's important to me, including myself, by the way, right? And in my life, I have yucky stuff show up, and I do stuff to get relief. We all do it, okay? And, and of course, I do stuff for who's important to me. Great. Now, the big difference here is now I'm going to notice all that stuff, meaning whenever I can, I'm going to, try and do it in real time. But even if I do it a little bit after the fact, it's okay. I'm going to notice all of that going on. And that's noticing the acceptance and commitment process, right? Because none of us are perfect. Or maybe Phil is doing 100% who's important to you, and
yeah, not even close.
No, I haven't met anybody that was even close. We all do relief moves. I mean, it's part of life.
Well, I'm fond of my relief moves.
Right. We all do them. So now we're going to notice this process, this big picture. That's literally at times called the big picture process. So now you can go a little bit more detailed. You can say, well, you can notice when trauma memories show up in your life. What do you think you'll have? I'm just asking, in general, a person with trauma memories. Do you think you might have the opportunity to notice a trauma memory showing up in the next week or so? What do you think? And the person's going to answer me.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
They never don't answer.
Yeah, they always answer. This is great. And for people with trauma memories, they answer in the affirmative.
Oh, they go definitely. Oh, here go Sparky things again.
How does it know to do that?
I don't know.
We do not do that on purpose, folks.
All I notice is that you lean back.
I leaned back and I did 2 thumbs up, and it got.
And that's it.
That is some new thing of Crowdcast.
Wow. We'll have to check that out.
We'll have to check that out. We didn't turn that on or do that on
No,
purpose. No.
but that would be a neat trick to do while you're showing the Matrix
It
too.
would be, yeah. That would be an aha moment.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's another crowd cat.
Yeah, right.
But
Maybe
anyway,
next
but anyways, they're going to say yes. Now, what you just did when you ask that question, you've shown the matrix, the big picture. You've come back over. You've gone down the trauma memories. This is your PTSD work.
There you go.
Come down there, and now you've asked a question, and it sounds as simple as it can be.
Just like Kevin said. That's the way
It
we
is. It's gorgeously simple, which is, do you think you're going to have the opportunity to notice a trauma memory showing up in the next week or so? And the person goes, well, yeah, I will. And that, my friends, is called diffusion. That's what you just did. You just did the ACT term, what's called diffusion. And if you want to, you can say, oh, that's a diffusion exercise. Okay, call it a diffusion exercise if you want. Fine with me.
Yeah.
If it helps you remember it, fine.
Fine.
Right, that's fine, but that's what it is. And that's what we mean by the underlying processes of ACT are in play within the matrix. The matrix took 17,000 of my hours to develop. Okay, it's a lot. There's a lot in there, but what's going on is values work, diffusion work, present moment experiencing work, committed action work. Is all going on. But you don't really know what's going on. It's just happening. And that's why we liked it so much better for PTSD, because you don't have to white knuckle people into working with their trauma memories.
Dragging them through it.
And so much like prolonged exposure therapy, well, it was a white knuckle thing.
Yep.
It just was in several points. But this way, it's never, literally, never white knuckle. Just not. They just learn through walking through life, but now they're walking through life with this point of view. Now they can see the big picture. And now as they're walking through life, ooh, a trauma memory showed up.
There it is.
Those fireworks, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, now it's different. It's ever so slightly different now. I'm not saying it's all gone. I'm not saying anything.
You haven't eliminated it.
No, but it's just teeny tiny little smidgen different. And that's what you need, is that teeny tiny little smidgen different. That, well, now I'm noticing my trauma memory. Well, I really wasn't noticing them before. I mean, sort of, kind of, but not like this. It's different now. I'm noticing it now. And also, I'm noticing my response to the trauma memory, right? And nobody's saying you can't do your regular old response. Fine.
Doing what you're doing.
We don't challenge it at all, like whatever your old response was. I mean, barring it was a danger to self or others.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really happen. So other than that, you're going to go, oh, I noticed a trauma memory showed up. I noticed I went to my room, closed the door, and started watching Netflix. Okay, there you go. That was really cool noticing.
Mm-hmm.
Now that stands you on your head. I fully understand, folks, because it's like, aren't we supposed to intervene? Aren't we supposed to tell them don't do that anymore? Of which, knock yourself out, tell them not to do that anymore. It won't work at all. You can say, be different. Well, let's offer up some different things that you could do
Oh, yeah.
to that. Okay,
That's a
well, that's popular.
yeah.
That don't work either.
No.
And folks, I've done literally thousands of PTSD cases. I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking 5, 6,000. It's a bunch
Yeah.
that I did in my career. That won't work. I mean, I shouldn't say won't. I work 1 out of 100 times or something, but it's not going to work enough to make it clinically relevant.
No.
This will. Because of something you heard me say about the aha moment, the fireworks. So now the person, trauma memory, I noticed myself going to my room, closing the door, watching Netflix. Boom. Trauma memory. I noticed myself doing some other avoidance, but
Drinking.
whatever. Boom.
Whatever.
Notice trauma memory show up. Now I'm noticing myself going to the fridge and eating.
Ooh, yeah.
Popular. Okay. I noticed myself doing the trauma memory showing up. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
I could do something different.
Yeah. Huh.
Boom.
It occurs to me. Oh, look at that. Now you got
It picks up your hand gestures, Phil.
oh, man.
Isn't that
Yeah, it's picking up on what you're doing with your hands. That's it.
wow. That's AI, isn't it?
Tell me about it. It's learning. Ooh, it's learning about you.
Okay. But anyway, that when the verbalization of it, which is, gee, I could do something different. Now that in ACT, in the theory of language and cognition behind ACT, is an aha moment.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's an aha. And Bill and I learned a long time ago that when the person you're working with comes up with the new thing to do,
Their aha moment.
that's like a bazillion% better.
Oh, yeah. That-
Because they're just liable to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they may not do it the first time,
no.
but eventually they'll
Yeah.
give it a whirl.
New learning has shown up. They've learned
Yep.
something different.
And notice when I first started this, I said that word learn is really a big part of this. And we don't mean like you're learning your ABCs. We mean you're learning how to walk through life and have the trauma memories, and they don't get you off your path. You stay on the path you want to go through life with, value life direction is what Hack would call it. And that's what you're doing with this. It's very elegant. It's very subtle. And the person might even say, boy, that's subtle.
Yeah.
Yep, it is. And it's subtle on purpose. Very much so subtle on purpose. Because the CBT stuff wasn't working well for my colleagues and I in PTSD. The prolonged exposure was really, I know it's really talked about, and I know Edna Fola, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, but they don't like it. The folks, they don't like it. So, and Phil and I both, we get really tired of working hard to sell people on
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the day in and day out, that's just no fun. The come on, do this. I promise you it's going to help.
Cajoling and, talking people into stuff. No. Nope.
It's just not a great way to make a career, folks.
No.
It's just not. You just get tired of it. And so go try those other ways and get tired of it and then come do this.
Yeah, they come back here.
And then come do this. And we urge you to give this a try. There's nothing else to it. We are not for a moment going to tell you there's more to it. What lies between you having it now, which you may not have ever done it, is practice.
Yeah.
That's it. You will need to go, and you're going to watch this video 100 times. That'd be like watching Tiger Woods
Yeah,
a golf club 100 times.
right.
It's not going
Playing
to
in a tournament. It'd be very entertaining. That's about it.
That's about it. When you get out on the golf course,
Whoa.
it ain't going to be the same.
Whole different experience here.
And so we know that, but we made it easy. I mean, this is even easier than hitting with a golf club.
Right there.
It's right there. It's on the internet. It's very easy. But one, you need to present the whole picture. We
Okay.
like to do it this way, the way we did it, which we do the senses, mind, contentment, relief, then who's important, and then yucky stuff, and then relief moves, and then contentment moves, and then noticing. That's the sequence we like. Knock yourself out if you want to figure something.
Yeah.
Doing
Mix and match.
whatever. In the end, you got that.
It'll look like this when you're done.
That's the Monopoly board. That's it.
And this is the pattern.
That's the pattern that emerges, and now there is a pattern. So now the natural pattern is, I'm going to do stuff in the service of who and what's important to me.
Right here.
And I'm going to have yucky stuff that shows up and gets in the way.
Most definitely. You've already predicted it.
Yeah. Part of some of the yucky stuff is my old trauma memories.
Yep. Oh, there they are.
Them dastardly old trauma memories. Yep, here they are. There they are. Well, they go in the lower left. That's where the yucky. And what do you do to try and get rid of them? Oh, I do this, this, and this. Oh, cool. We'll write all that down. Well, now you can notice yourself doing that process. You can notice the trauma memory showing up, and you can notice yourself doing your favorite avoidance moves. And at the same time, you can keep in mind who's important to you and the kind of stuff you do for who's important to you. And you can notice all that stuff. Okay, what else do I do? Oh, for right now, nothing else.
That's plenty.
That is plenty.
Right. More than sufficient.
More than enough to work on between now and next week.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, if you forget to work on it, that's fine.
That's okay, too.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Pick it back up.
Now you'll notice something I just did. Phil knows I just did it. It's called pulling the pliance. Meaning the way I said it, the person, because of the culture we're in, the person will interpret it as he just gave me homework.
He told me what to do.
He told me to do this matrix. That's a power position.
Yeah.
I just became the teacher or the supervisor. Or
I know what's best for you.
Right. And I just told them what to do. And in ACT, you don't want to leave it at that. It's fine to do it like I just did it. You give it to them. But if you do, you want to pull it right back off, which is, if you forget to do it, not a problem. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not, so that was not homework? Oh, no. Don't do that. No. Why? Because you want to keep that in ACT, in acceptance and commitment therapy. You're working to keep the power the same.
Yep.
I know it sounds weird, but most therapies, let's say Freud sitting behind the couch, shade lounge, writing noise, but he was power.
Yeah.
He had the big power. And in lots of relationships, there's a big power differential. Well, you don't do that in ACT.
No.
I mean, Steve Hayes, Kelly Wilson, the creators of ACT on that. And it's awfully easy to slip into. But,
it's built into us.
Right, it's sort of built in. But at the same time, you can notice it happening and just pull it right back.
Yeah.
That's all. It's not a case of where you're really working hard, trying not to ever even slip up and do it a little bit. Of course you are. Just remember to pull the pliance back off.
You notice it, And then you pull the appliance back on.
which is, don't worry about it. You don't have
Yeah,
to.
it'll happen. Yep.
Now, almost everybody I've ever shown this to in a clinical setting absolutely will notice stuff in the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of them go way farther.
Oh, yeah.
The people that are computer savvy will create a friggin'
Oh, yeah. They'll come in with their own diagram for you.
like spreadsheets and stuff.
Stuff and all that.
Put it on the refrigerator, write it on the mirror. I've had people have it tattooed on their arms. I've had people put it up on, paint it on their walls.
Yeah.
Literally paint it on there.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
know people put it on the refrigerators at home.
lots of refrigerator art and stuff. But none of that was instructed.
Nope.
None. Nada. We don't do that. Why? Because it needs to become from, and the fancy word for it is intrinsic motivation instead of extrinsic. So if I tell them what to do, that's extrinsic.
That's coming from up here.
If the person derives it on their own, that's
here.
intrinsic. And pretty well all of us know we like stuff a whole lot better if we come up with it on our own.
Oh, yeah.
Just do. And so they do, and that's how you do it. So now this is where we know that a lot of clinicians will go, man, that sounds all well and good, but I probably will never get around to doing that. Yeah. We know.
For that.
We
Yep.
know that. So we're okay with that, actually.
Yeah. It's fine.
Our job is to show it to people. We do not have responsibility whether anybody's picking it up.
No control over whether you pick it up and use it or not.
And that's our comfort. We're showing our comfort in we rely on your intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
But we are not going to order anybody to do this. That would just mess everything up. So we're not going to do that. So, but we offer it to you. Just know it is no more complicated than what we just showed you. That's it. Certification, you say, well, what would be the certification? You're smooth like I just did it.
Can introduce this and walk through this with someone.
You come watch Phil and I do this like to an audience or something. Yeah, it's probably going to look smooth as glass. And we're going to have done all kinds of stuff and got people involved and answering questions and having aha moments and all kinds of stuff.
Doing it with each other. We do all of that stuff.
But we really didn't do anything different than what I just did. It's just smooth. It just rolls out of you. And there's precisely one way to get there. Practice. That's it.
Yep.
What
do we say? Well, we came up with a number, right? Our number.
Oh, we said 30. Yeah. Because somebody asked us to come up with a number, so we did. 30.
30. Yep. That's a pretty good number, folks. You do this 30 times and interesting things are going to be happening.
We can pretty well guarantee that if you pull this out and do this, show this to people, whether it be your spouse,
anybody, just
doesn't matter. Just show it to, and you can show it to the same person 30 times.
Oh yeah, that counts.
That counts too. You can show it to yourself.
You do it on your own, exactly.
But it's somewhere around 30 times. And so for some people it's 10, and for other people it's 50, but somewhere in that neighborhood. But 30 is a good number.
Yeah.
You're going to go, oh, wow. I'm noticing more stuff. And that's it. That's
where you want to bring people to.
That's where it is. But just like the old golf stroke I was just talking about. Well,
yeah.
You're going to have to hit a few of them before you start getting, here's the word, it's called the feel for it, right? Get the feel for it. And this right now, if you're brand new to this, you don't have any feel for it.
No.
We do.
Yeah.
But the good news is there's not a lot of distance between us and you as far as you getting the feel for it. It's just practice.
Other than doing this a lot.
You got to get it out and practice and show it to people. So, and that's literally, we say that to clients and everybody else. I have this diagram. I can show it to you. Would you like to see it? That's all we're doing. We're not even making any promises.
No. No.
We don't.
No
So that's what
promises, no guarantees, no predictions.
the world wants. They, act for depression, and it guarantees that
Yeah.
your depression will be less.
5 sessions.
No. We don't make those kind of guarantees. We want to show it to folks, and then we're really interested in what other people do with it.
Really, really interested, really curious.
And we actually are. Now that's genuine. We
Yeah.
are genuinely curious and in awe of what people do with it. So our job was to show it in such a way that the person can pick it up and go practice it. That's all our job is. Then people come back to us, whether it be clients or fellow clinicians or whatever. They come back and they tell us about what they did with it. And we're really, really interested in that. I mean, awesomely interested in that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, over the top interested in that. Because we've heard some really great, cool stories
Yes.
of what people have done with this, right? But even with that, I mean, what, 10, 20, 30% of people try it out. It's not.
Yeah.
Because people are who they are. I guess I'm who I am. I don't try
Yeah.
the stuff I'm
Yeah, you kind of get in your way of doing things. And
I know there's lots of cool stuff that has showed up in my life, and I didn't pick it up.
Yeah.
Mark Twain once said, opportunity knocks at everybody's door, but most of us are down at the corner bar.
There you go. That's right. Just whooshed on by.
So I've got lots of stuff where opportunity showed up, but I didn't pick it up. I'm even worse. I was there to answer the door, and I still didn't pick it up.
Right.
So this may be one of those things, but we do hope that you do pick it up.
Like that.
And it'll make your life a lot easier. It really will.
Oh, heavens, yes. It'll make your clients' lives a lot
I should make it evidence-based, okay? We literally have thousands of clients, and we literally have thousands of trainees of different, therapists and coaches and business people and stuff, clergy even.
Yeah.
And to a person, they've all said this is very useful.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
God, Phil, have we ever had somebody? I guess if they don't like it, they don't come tell us.
Well, we don't hear from them. Yeah.
We just don't hear from them, but we do hear from a lot of people, and a lot of people find it.
Yeah. We've had no one's come back and said, this has not been good at all. Nothing bad. I always say nothing bad has ever happened when someone has shown someone else the matrix.
And yeah, so you don't have to worry about triggering.
Okay. Yeah. You can't break it. You can't mess it up.
Don't worry about it. It's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, you say, well, what if I think the person's really fragile and we shouldn't bring up trauma memories? Okay. Don't.
Yeah. It's your call.
Your call. Just say it's yucky stuff.
Yeah.
Don't bring up trauma memories.
Put yucky stuff up there and they're done.
Go on about your business. Don't worry about it. So now there's no, other than that basic structure, there's, and people say, well, could you put the things in different categories or different boxes? Well, yeah, but that would be like changing Monopoly.
Yeah.
It would really confuse a lot of people. So no, that's just the way it evolved. It works just fine. Do it. Have fun. We hope you enjoy doing it. It's really a lot of fun and rewarding, but it's rewarding in a sort of peaceful. What's that Eagle song? It's
Peaceful, easy feeling.
peaceful, easy feeling. It's sort of that. It's,
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's life. But it's rewarding though to do it. I will. For my own personal thing, it's really rewarding.
Oh, I've gotten so much out of it. Personally, professionally, in all different ways.
I mean, look at it, folks. I put 17 freaking thousand hours in it, and I still got a lot out of it. Most people don't invest 17,000 hours in something, but I can with all confidence say, and I'm talking heartfelt, I got really cool emotional stuff out of it. I'm not talking money. I gave it away to the world. And make a bunch of money at it. That wasn't it. It's just cool. It's fun to see what people do with it. And our mission, and we hope you pick it up, is to show it to a whole bunch more people so that they pick it up and use it. And they get that peaceful, easy stuff showing up.
Spread it around.
Some of the time, because the rest of the time, life ain't peaceful and easy.
Oh, man. No way.
The older I get, the more sick people show up.
Uh-huh.
Including myself.
Yeah. Yeah, really. What's going on here?
I was doing just fine.
Yeah. Now I'm not.
And by definition, folks, sick stuff is yucky. Why they call it sick, right? So yeah, there's always going to be that kind of stuff showing up and getting in the way, and you're like flat tires, transmissions go in your car.
Oh man,
junk like that, like yucky. But then you got to notice it. Comes back around. So we hope you enjoy it. We'll sign off now, and we'll be back next week. And I think a week after that, Phil, we might be able to go back up to 2 a week. So,
that will be fun.
The schedule will change some. So I'll be back more back in this saddle, which we really enjoy showing it to people. So we hope you do too.
Yeah.
Bye-bye now.
Have a good one.
I forget how to turn it off. There we go.